Yo, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over a few pairs that I was personally looking at throughout the week. I do have GBPUSD along with more pairs to be going over. This is going to be a quick recap of last week. So from January 16 to 22. So without further ado, let's get into it. Before we begin, I do have a risk disclaimer here that I'm not a financial advisor. Content provided is only for educational, informational, and illustrative purposes only. I'm simply just sharing a collection of information I personally gained through 4 years of my personal trading experience. Whatever actions you pursue after information revealed is totally up to your discretion and totally up to your responsibility. The user of these products and services assumes full responsibility for all trading activity. Trading with real money does involve risk, so trade at your own discretion and trade at your own risk. Diving into it, I go based on daily structure. So we see that we have a new low here. We have intraday BOS, and then we tapped into this daily area, and we got a healthy reaction off that. But as of right now, on the 4 hour, we are still currently bullish. So I am waiting for this closure below in order to enter in this area, because following 4 hour structure, this is the new high. I want to see a reaction off this area. I don't want anything above that, which is why my SL is in this area here. And I refined it even more using smaller time frames. So here we actually use 15-minute to enter. And as you can see here, clearly this area hasn't been tapped into yet. Neither has this area. This area has a possibility of being tapped into already, because as you can see, it wicks this area. But there may be interest in visiting that area again, which is why I have it marked up. Obviously, ideally, we would want to come back into this area. But until then, we can wait for smaller time frames, so the 5-minute, and see how price reacts in this area as well as this area. Okay, now going to GA, we have something a little bit different. We do have, going to the daily, following fibs, we do have a respected reaction that's considered a valid retracement for the daily. So taking out fibs now, this is the area I'm personally looking at. Going to the 4 hour, I do see daily IPA here, as well as buying demand in this area. And from here, I do see a little bit of D2 playing out. Right now, we have our SOW. So we have confirmation that we're ready to sell off soon. Again, it is a little bit riskier because we are on option structure. But right now, my current position is to sell to buy. So I'm selling in this area right here with my smaller time frame confirmation. And I'm planning to write it down to my buying area, because there's a lot of reason for price to come down, which is why I'm actually selling to buying. But because we're on a higher time frame bullish structure, I want to make sure that I'm respecting structure. So I'm only targeting up to this. I don't want to target anything lower than this, because that's disrespecting structure now. Okay, but here is where I'm planning to buy, but I want to sell to that buy area. Okay, going to EG, we did actually get a healthy price reaction in this area here. Going to the daily time frame, you do see we're at a low, we're on bearish structure, so it's obviously safer to sell. Here, ideally I want to ride it up to this area, but I need my smaller time frame confirmation in order to do so. So going to the 4 hour here, you could see that there was a major money sweep here, sweeping all these lows, and then we had aggressive bullish price action here. So if we are to buy, I would wait for confirmation to close above here, which is what I'm waiting for, and then we'll buy here to ride it to our daily area. But as of right now, we are currently bearish, which is why I sold. And as you can see here, we got a nice reaction off this 1 hour IC that took out all this money. And this actually turned into RD2 rather than A1. So yeah, here we got that nice reaction and we're currently in profit. I currently closed early because I don't like to hold my trades over the weekend. Because as you guys know, we as traders cannot trade, but institutions, banks around the world can still trade. So the price you see here is not actually that current price right now. Okay, so I closed, and I'm waiting for more price action to form before I find a re-entry. Okay, going to UJ. UJ, I really like the daily areas. So going to the daily, you can see we have the SOS, we have intraday COS, and then we have our high. So now we're in uptrend structure. So we're anticipating a reaction in this area. We have our MDS here, and this is the last point of where I can see price returning to, which is why I have an entry down here, as well as one right here. So going down to the 4 hour, you can see that we had a good reaction. Thankfully, I closed partials in this area and then moved stops to break even. We did get stopped out at break even, and then we had an immediate push up. So what this market information is already telling us is to widen our stops a little bit, because UJ could be a little bit more volatile in terms of hitting your stops first before flooring in your direction. You always want to make sure you're assessing price action beforehand. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. Do as you wish, but this is just what I personally feel works for me. So that's what I like to do as a profit strategy. Okay. So here we got that reaction. But the reason why I close also is because we still have more reason to tap into this area. As you can see here, we have 4 hour IPA that has been tapped into. We have an IC that swept money and never got tapped into yet. So waiting personally on that. But yeah, that's my alternate entry. Go into the daily. I like this area a lot because there is money forming above it. So that's why I'm looking at it. Okay, that's it for UJ. For EA, here I'm seeing a little something different. We have BOS in this area. We have this nice money sweep. And then we have an immediate sell-off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of pure bearish price action, which makes this area an area of interest. However, I'm keeping this daily IPA in mind because this IC never got tapped into yet. And it also took out all this money. So from a structure standpoint, I'm looking more so for sells because I want to make sure that I'm respecting structure. But at the same time here, I see buy orders present here because we failed to make a new low. With that being said, it's clear that buyers are in this market. So it's a little bit safer to wait to see how price reacts. I'm waiting for my smaller time frame confirmations in this area to see if there's a reaction off here. But if there is bullish price action in this area, I'm actually going to be targeting this area instead. Okay, so as of right now, I'm sitting on my hands for this trade. And yeah, going to USDCAD. This is one trade I'm personally looking forward to for next week. Going to the daily, we're in bullish environment. We have a high. This is our higher low. Now, we're anticipating a reaction in this area or this area. As you can see here for the daily, it is healthy price action. So there's no real reason for price to come into this area. But going to the 4 hour, you see more money forming. So we have more reason for price to come down, take that money, and skyrocket. Okay. But here, we do see smaller time frame reasons for price to come into that area also. So I have 2 areas marked up for UCAD on this one. I have this IC here that hasn't been tapped into, as well as this IPA, as well as this money forming here. And I also have this IC here that has IPA above it and money forming that got captured before this immediate bullish run. Okay, so these are the 2 areas I'm personally looking at. I'm going to keep tabs on what happens in this area as well as this area. More so, I'm going to look at this area more and set this one as a limit because as you can see, this is an extreme POI, meaning that this is the last point where I personally believe that price can return to before having a rejection off of. I like this area more because it's more probability of being fulfilled, but this is just overall better risk management, and we're buying at a lower position, so it gives me a little bit more confidence in my trade. Now going to NZDCAD, here we do see MDS again, and we're currently at a low. So right now going to the 4 hour, I like this area a lot. We have D1 on the 4 hour right here, as well as this capture right here. Let's zoom into this area a little bit more. You can see that this already got tapped into, so there's no real reason for price to come into this area. We have this IPA that's been filled. Again, no reason to tap into this area. So this is an area that highlights my interest. But because this has already been officially filled, I'm looking into this area because there's money forming above it, or sorry, below it, and we still haven't tapped into this one. Okay. as well as we have IPA in this area. Go into the daily, a little bit more clear. Daily IPA right here. We have our MDS. So we already have so much reasons to sell. I personally like this area a lot more because it respects more so for daily structure. This is more so from a weekly perspective. So on a higher time frame, this is what I'm seeing. Okay. WBOS, and then coming into this area. Could even come into this area because this one technically never got filled yet. The IPA here has already been filled, so we don't need to worry too much about that. But yeah. Going to the 4 hour here. We see that liquidity is forming. We see that money is forming. Trend line. A retail trend line. So this is inducing people to sell because when people are taught, 99% are taught that when it comes to this line that you created, there's going to be a rejection. It's not always guaranteed. So that's why I say money is forming. And that's what 99% is seeing. So that's what I like to mark up as my money. Here we have intraday COS. So we have a new low made. And again, this is the last point of where I can see price tapping into before we have that immediate sell-off. But there could be a reaction off here because going to the 4 hour structure, we have a new low made after this low is made. This is still valid in my eyes because we have aggressive selling pressure after we make a new lower high. So this is an area I'm looking at. I want to see if there's a reaction that's going to happen out here. I want to see price stall out a little bit before we push lower. But if there is bullish price action that's pushing above this area, I'm looking at these areas instead. As you can see, you already see my entry. So go into the 1 hour. See that clear right here. We have this beautiful D1 and we have this nice capture. And I'm looking at this area right here because this one never got tapped into yet. But going down to a smaller time frame, 15 minute, it's a little bit more clear. We have D1 on the 15 minute. We have this big capture and we have this area that hasn't been tapped into yet, which is why I'm actually looking at this area instead. This was 15 minute, my bad, not 1 hour. Okay. And for gold, unfortunately, I'm not seeing much price action here. I don't like where it is on the daily. We are in bearish structure right now, so I'm waiting for D1 on a smaller time frame to form. But here, I don't like how we didn't make a new low because that just shows that there's buying demand in this area. So until then, I want to see where price is looking to reject off of. In my eyes, it could be this area or it could be this area right here. But with that being said, guys, that's going to be the wrap of this video. If you guys liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. I did remake this one because I didn't like how yesterday's turned out. Subscribe. I'm going to be uploading weekly. So with that being said, I will see you next week. If you have any questions, comments, drop them in the comments below and I'll take a look at that. If you have any pairs that you're personally looking at or want me to look at, DM me on IG, a.mfceo, and we'll take it from there. With that being said, guys, I'll see you next week. Take care, but all love, peace.